ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Anime in a Mug. And normally I'd have the cup with me, but I need to get this done, and I don't know where the cup went. It's somewhere around here, but it still has the stuff from last season in it, and I haven't bothered to empty it yet. So this is kind of Anime in a Mug. Kind of, because we have a list. It's not in a mug yet. It will be in a mug yet next week when we actually start doing this week by week. I promise you that it will be in a mug next week. But this is fall. Fall season has started. We're actually 3-4 episodes in, but fall has started, and I want to get this first impression video done before we get halfway through, because at the halfway point, normally speaking, I go back over everything that we've watched so far and recap it, but since we're already 3 episodes in, I'm probably not going to do that. So we are starting with Hokaku Shonen Kaneko, which is, I thought it was going to be a full-length show, but no, it's actually just little short stories. They're very cute. If you guys aren't familiar with the series, the basic premise of it is that Hanako is a ghost who lives in a bathroom. Yes, I know. He lives in the school, and he lives in, I believe it's, no, he's the seventh mystery of the school, and he lives in a bathroom. And I think it's like you have to, like, you know, if you knock 3 times and he appears, you get something. I'm not really sure what it is, but he basically forms a pact with the main character, Nene, and they end up, you know, going on adventures. And this is not the main series. This is just a bunch of cute little short stories. They're very cute. But I'm probably not going to cover this in future installments, mostly because it's not really canon to the main story, and it's not really a full series. So, Ran Kaminohashi, this is fun. This show is fun. But I'm also probably not going to cover this in the full series, not because it's bad, but because they're very episodic. The premise is that Ron is a detective, and initially the main character, whose name I now forget because it's blanking me, but he goes to Ron because there's a murder case that the police can't solve, because it's always a case the police can't solve. But he goes to Ron, and he's like, hey, can you help me? But Ron is like, no, I don't want to help. I've been shut in here for the past 10 years. I'm perfectly content. I forget why exactly, but he convinces Ron to help him. And Ron goes out, he solves it immediately, but the twist is that the reason Ron shut himself in his apartment is because he has the power to compel people to kill themselves. Or he has the power to compel culprits to kill themselves. And he is extremely ashamed and embarrassed by this power, and he hates it, so he shut himself in his room. And he hasn't come out since. He doesn't look at the news, he doesn't get newspapers, because he knows if he does, he's going to want to solve mysteries, and that'll lead to him forcing people to kill themselves, and he doesn't want to do that. I'm not really sure if this is going to be, because I haven't actually gotten to the next 2 episodes, that he solves cases from his apartment, or that he has to overcome this power and come out of hiding. It could be one or the other. I really like it. I love shows where the detective uses deductions in order to solve cases. Like he can tell from what sneakers you wear, or what's on your sneakers, where you've been, and he can look at your suit and say, oh, it's a little bit crumpled, which basically means that it's old because it's a hand-me-down, or because of, like, it's not new, you got it used, which means you're having money issues and stuff like that. I really like that kind of detective story. I'm not really into police procedurals. And I also like the fact that, Ron is just basically nuts. He's just kind of like eccentric, and he doesn't hold back his opinions, which is really funny. I have not watched Four Nights of the Apocalypse, but Heat the Pig Liver. I have a feeling that you're not going to like this if you don't get that it's satire. Because people have been complaining that the main character is a slut, is not a slut, that he's a sleazeball, that he's constantly looking up the main character's skirt, and that he's making, really creepy, but people don't seem to understand that's the point. The point is that the main character is literally a pig. And at one point he says in the opener, so I'm a pig on the outside and the inside. And inside. And they're taking that literally. They're literally saying this character is a pig inside and out. That's not, it's, the problem is that the opener was okay, but I went into the show because I liked the idea that the main character, the girl he meets wants to eat him. That's the joke. And I like that idea. I found that very funny. But they don't bring it up even once. They don't bring it up. And I was like, oh, okay, well, well, you literally ruined the only thing I actually had interest in this show. I might watch it more because at least this plot is moving forward, and at least they're trying to find a way to get the main character back to normal. And I appreciate that, because most shows, he just kind of forgets about his home life and just spends the rest of the series dicking around in the other world. But at least in this world, hi person, at least in this world, he is trying to get home. So that's something. I just really, really hope that they bring up the fact that the girl wants to eat him, because I found that funny. Shy. Shy is the story of a girl who has anxiety, Fluttershy Season 2 levels of anxiety. She has cripplingly bad anxiety, but at the same time, she's a hero. And she has to overcome that anxiety to be a hero. And I like that. I find it interesting. I also find the idea interesting that the villains have mostly the same powers as she does. But they use it to corrupt people. I like that. I find that interesting. So, not a lot has happened yet. She's supposedly been her, hanging out with her friend and she's very cute. She's very adorable. I like the intro. The intro is catchy. I hope something comes of this. It's not bad. I just hope they actually do something with it. So, next is Miga Todali. Okay, so this show is the story of a young man who is Hattori? I forget. Ooh, 4. Hi, people. 4. Ooh, okay. That's a jump. That's a cool jump from normal. Hi, that's awesome, because normally in a live stream I've only gotten 2. I've only gotten a maximum of 2 in a live stream. And even though it just jumped back to 0, I at least appreciate that 4 of y'all watched at one time, or at least clicked onto the video. So that makes me happy. That makes me happy that 4 of you at least clicked onto the video, so thank you very much. Miga Todali is the story of a young man, I believe his name is Hattori, or Dari, or Dari as he's also called, because in Japanese it's not Dolly, it's Dari. Miga Todali is the story of a young man who was adopted by a family, and what they don't know is that he is not alone. He has a twin brother named Migi, and he and his brother are trying to find out who murdered their mother. We don't know initially that their mother was murdered. They don't know initially that their mother was murdered. And they're trying to find out who. So far, they haven't had any luck. They befriend a bunch of people, and they're using those people to look into their houses and find the house which they used to live in, because they used to live in a house with a certain type of wallpaper, and they need to know that type of wallpaper because they want to find it, because they think that house will provide them clues as to what happened to their mother. They haven't found anything yet, but I also like the fact that Miggy and Dolly, Miggy has to stay hidden. We don't know why yet, although I have a sneaking suspicion that whatever the reason Miggy has to stay hidden, it has to do with his mother's murder. I think that maybe there weren't supposed to be twins, but for whatever reason, she did have twins, and somebody killed her for it. That's just my personal opinion. That's just my personal feeling as to what's going on, because Miggy has to hide. Or maybe it's just the fact that if they knew there were two, they would immediately become suspicious, because this is a small community, and I gotta imagine that people in this community would recognize them if they found, oh hey, these two twins who look exactly like are, they're there. So I have a feeling that maybe if both of them were out, somebody would recognize them. But it's a murder mystery. I admittedly did not know where this series was going, because I was like, oh, well, this looks like an interesting show, but they haven't really given us any context as to what it is. They said it was a mystery, but how is this show a mystery? And now we know it's a murder mystery, and it's a pretty good murder mystery too. Sorry, I want to get a Coke. So, let me sit down and move on to the next one. Let me see what is next. I have not watched My New Boss is Goofy. I decided I didn't have any interest in it. I know I'm watching shows with June in it, but I might save that for later, because I have no interest in that show. Dog Signal has not come out yet, so we're not gonna worry about Dog Signal because that show has not come out yet. Shield Hero 3. I will admit, this is a step up. This is a massive step up, because last season I spent the entire season just begging them to move on from the stupid turtle. The turtle was boring. I did not care, at all. It was just a slog to get through. But this is a big step up. I'm still not okay with the fact that Raphtalia still wants to be part of the group, because she's basically now Vumi's slave. But I can look past that. They go to, I think it's the capital. They go to the capital, and they're there, and they decide to enter a fighting tournament in order to make money, where we meet Full, who's going to become important later, and honestly is the only reason I kept watching the show, because if you guys don't know, Jun Fukuyama is my favorite Seiyu, and if anything's in it, I will watch it. I will probably watch it at some point. Kohei Amasaki is my second favorite, and he and Ayumu are my three that, if they're in a show, I don't have to watch it, but I have to watch at least one episode. So it's also looks better art-wise. It also looks better art-wise. It's prettier. It has sleeker visuals, and I like the fact that it's thicker. I don't know how else to put that, but it's thicker visually. Like, the designs look more look. I don't even think chunky is the word. Just more solid. It looks nicer. It just looks nicer. but that's pretty much it for Shield Hero 3. Nothing else has really happened so far. They're basically just entering this fighting tournament to earn money. So, Furin didn't watch, was going to watch Saihate no Paladin 2, and then I was like, well, they didn't do anything with the first season. I kind of like the idea for the second season, but they didn't really do anything with it. So, no, it's just, it was just him setting up his journey, and I really didn't care. So, 100 Girlfriends. I went into this with reservations, and I can honestly say the show is, it's interesting. Cause I like interesting because it's actually very funny. But the main character, whose name I don't think is really relevant, he has a name, but I don't think it's relevant. He, sorry, excuse me, I belched. I apologize, I belched. He gets this curse on him because he visits a shrine, and he's there, and he ends up being cursed with the fact that he has to meet his soulmate. But if he can't get his soulmate to admit she loves him, then she will die. And I was like, wait, she'll die? Because usually it's he'll die. Usually he has to get somebody to want to be with him and he will die. But no, in this case it's she'll die. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I hear it gets crazier later on, but right now we meet the two girls. We meet the twin tail character and the redhead character, and they're both very cute. And it was very funny watching him trying to interact with them and getting them. It was just very silly. I like it. I don't love it. Hamatsu no Okaku. I think that's Kingdom of Ruin. So basically, I forgot whether I actually wrote this down on the list. But Kingdom of Ruin is the story of a kingdom where witches used to use magic all the time. And one day, the kingdom was like, hey, we can do that. We can make our own magic. So they made their own magic, but then they decided that witches were useless, that witches were not needed. So they ended up slaughtering all the witches. And the main character, whose name, again, I'm not good with names. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not good with names. I apologize. I tend to forget names very, very quickly. But, the main character, his name, or he watches the girl he likes die, and he, or his mentor, I forget whether she was his girlfriend or his mentor. She was one or the other, and she dies, and she dies in his arms, and he decides to avenge her by getting revenge on the witches, and it's an interesting idea. I hope they do something with it. I hope they actually, do something with this concept, because so far it's basically a lot of exposition, and it's like a lot of clunky, this thing connected to this thing, and this group is in charge of this, but we need to get, it's basically, as I recall, a lot of exposition so far, and it's a lot of terms and phrases that I'm like, okay, I don't know any of this. I don't understand what any of this means. It's very long and very complicated. And I'm starting to get tired of shows that have like 20 million phrases which you are just supposed to understand. But I'm not autistic, but I'm spectrum adjacent, and because of that I have a trouble recollecting things and remembering things. I also have ADHD, so I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, which is why I talk so much. But I have trouble remembering things. So I've not watched Returner's Magic yet. I don't remember why I was supposed to watch that. Ragnar Crimson. Ragnar Crimson is basically the same thing as the other one. He wants to beat dragons, and he teams up with this creepy god in order to beat dragon. Nothing has really happened yet. Nothing has really happened yet. They're fighting a dragon right now. That's pretty much it. So, Undead Unluck is probably my favorite show this season. It is fun. It is goofy. I love the idea. So the idea is the main character whose name, again, Izumo, I think her name is. I actually might remember her name. Her name, I believe, is Izumo. And she causes misfortune to everyone she touches or she comes in contact with. And she hates it. She thinks it makes her miserable. So she decides one day, I'm just going to kill myself. Or I'm going to unalive myself because YouTube. She is stopped by a young man named Andy who cannot die. And she is stopped by him, and he's like, no, please don't do that. He rescues her from her attempt, and they are confronted by a group who wants to use her to bring about war. And after rescuing her, she makes a pact with Andy that she will help him find a way to die, because he can't die. Even if he's, like, beheaded, he still lives, because the head grows back. And that honestly is my favorite kind of immortality, where you don't just you don't just shrug it off. You like literally regrow yourself if you get something bitten off or if you get ripped in half. No, you like literally reform from scratch, or you visually reform. I like that concept. I think it's interesting, and it's very funny. Their dynamic is very cute. She doesn't really understand why he's helping her. He doesn't understand why she's trying to kill herself or unalive herself. I'm sorry, YouTube. It's very fun, very fun. It has a great opening. I like the art style, and it's probably the only series that there's this season that I feel like they can actually do something with, because most of the shows this season have a one-note plot that you feel like, well, what next? But we know what next. We know what's going to happen after this. So, I'm in Love with the Villainess is probably my second favorite show this season. The premise of this show is that the main character gets isekai'd into her favorite otome game. Except the twist is that, as the title suggests, she is in love with the antagonist character. And the antagonist character basically picks on her and is very, normally I can't stand Hime's, okay? Because I hate the laugh. I hate that. I think it's obnoxious. It drives me crazy. And their personality really irritates me. But in this case, I think it works because I think the idea is that she's not necessarily evil. She's just kind of mean. Like if you did this with, what was it called? If you did this with, the last one, Heretical Last Boss. If you did this with her, I would hate it because she is, I know it's a redemption show, but she was a bad person. Like, she actually was like, inherently evil. So if you did this concept with her, where you're trying to redeem, where the main character is like, oh, yeah, I'm in love with you anyway, that would be awful. But with Claire, it makes sense because Claire isn't necessarily evil. She's just kind of mean, and it's really cute watching her act like a tsundere around the main character and realizing that no, that actually she does have faith. And that's the other thing about this show. This show is not shy about admitting their characters are gay for each other. Most shows would stagnate around it. It would take the entire series for the main characters to admit, But this show, in episode 2, the main character admits admits she loves Claire. And they're like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And they basically they admit she's in love with the woman, which is awesome because you don't pussyfoot around it, and it's cool. I like the art. I like the opening. I think the opening's catchy. Karen Nanami has a beautiful voice. Initially, I thought she was the same girl who played Zakuro from Tokyo Mew Mew because they're similar vocally, but no, they just both have really gorgeous voices. Karen, she has a great voice, singing voice. I'm also sorry because I'm a little bit stuffy. So if you feel me sniffling, I'm a little bit stuffy right now. So it's basically hijinks at this point. It's not really plot relevant. It's cute. It's hijinksy. And the last one is Tear Moon Empire. I like the idea. The idea is that the main character, whose name I can't remember, again, I'm sorry, I just can't remember these characters' names. She is going to be beheaded, because I don't want to say decapitated, because beheaded by guillotine, and she wakes up the next day, and she realizes that she's gone back in time. And you think she's going to right herself, right? You think she's going to make herself better. No. No, she's not. She just wants to avoid dying. That's literally her only goal. So everything she does is not because she wants to make herself a better person. It's because she wants to avoid having her head cut off. I love this concept. I like the art. The only thing I'm worried about is that it's not going to be able to sustain an entire series, because it's basically a premise you can only do so many things with. But it's cute. It's interesting. I know I haven't said a lot, but there's not a lot to say so far. We're only like 2-3 episodes in. And a lot of these shows I'm really behind on. So I'm going off of this like I'm watching the first episode. Because some of these shows I literally have watched like 1 episode of. Not because they're bad, but because I'm just lazy and keep forgetting to catch up with them. What else? Hiragusai Precure. It's cute. But the thing is, we're like 38 episodes in, and nothing has moved forward. At least at this point with other shows, we met the villains. We know what their goals are. We know why their goals are. But with this show, we know they're trying to protect the princess, but we don't know why. We don't know who this kingdom is or what their goals are. We haven't even met the main villain yet. Like, she or he has not shown up until since episode 10. So, since halfway through. I do love the idea that the villains are still kicking in this world, because in a previous episode, we met the pretty boy and the hippo again, and they live next to each other, and I love that concept. I think it's a really cute concept, and I kind of want a spin-off of them just living life in this apartment complex. I kind of want a spin-off of them just living next to each other, but we do have contract clues, as I said, that they're not evil. Because but we're 40 episodes in, and we don't know thing one about anything that's going on. And it's frustrating because I like this show. I like it more than the last one, but I want to know. I want them to actually, you know, move forward and get shit done. Excuse me. I was originally not going to do this. Are you from Tennessee? Because, no, I'm actually from Maryland. I get what you're saying. You're hitting on me, and I don't think I'm a 10. Lol, I don't think I'm a 10. I don't even think I'm slightly a 10. But no, I'm from Maryland. I know, I get your pun, by the way. Don't worry. I do get your pun. Hi, Payne, how you doing? So it's not like it's going over my head, but no, I'm not. That pun doesn't work with me because I'm from Maryland. So if I was from Tennessee, that would be funny. But, yeah, that's this season. Other stuff I am watching. I've paused, as you guys know, the 2 shows that I've watched. The shows that I'm watching to watch Halloween shows, because I've decided that, I don't know if I'm going to watch them every year, but I decided to watch Blood-C and, Diabolic Lovers again for Halloween. I forgot how much context there was in Blood-C. About what's going on. I forgot that they actually talk behind her back about how, you know, do you think she'll remember this time? Do you think, you know, she's changing the path? What do we do? I forgot about that. And I think that's really clever that they acknowledge that something is going on, that she's basically in a simulation. Because the whole point of Blood-C is that the main character, Saya, is being manipulated by her neighbor, who I'm very creeped out by, and I actually think is kind of a pedophile, but, is being manipulated by her neighbor to see if she can retain her humanity, because she's actually a furry kimono, because I'm not using the term elderman, it's a stupid term. It's a stupid term. Her kimono, she's to retain her humanity and see how long she can last, having to fight these monsters constantly, and watching everyone around her die, and see how long she can stay human. We don't know why, and I don't think we ever find out why he's doing it, and I'd really like to know. I'd really actually like to know why he's doing it, but, so it's basically kind of like Higurashi in that everything starts out cute and normal in the first half of the episode. She goes to school, she has everyday life, and then the second half of the episode, she has to fight a furry kimono. And the designs of these things are very interesting. Like, there's a train, there's a bird, there's a spider. We haven't gotten to the spider yet. Oh, the spider is fun. The spider is fun. But, because the spider is the point in the series where people start dying left and right. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. She has to fight a wood monster, and she has to balance that with everyday life while trying to figure out why these things are attacking her, because they keep mentioning something called the Covenant, and she's like, what is that? Why? It's a very bloody series. It's very fun. I love this show. I also love Diabolic Lovers. I love that the anime basically cuts out all the romance, because the romance is the problematic part. The show is just really fucking creepy. Basically, the premise is that the main character, Yui, goes to this house, is dropped off at this house. What she doesn't know is that the residents of this house are all vampires. And the residents of this house want nothing more than to suck on her and drain her of all of her blood. And every second of this show is spent wondering when one of these creepers is going to pin her down and suck her dry. And it's very tense. To me, it's very tense. It's very creepy. And I love the fact that, you spend every second on the edge of your seat going, edge of your seat. And I love debating this show with people because people get mad and they're like, well, she's so annoying. As I mentioned in one of my shorts, she's so annoying. She never runs. Really? Because she runs away in the first episode and they track her down. And I think the first episode is the one where they all bite her at once. Like, 3 of them all bite on her at once. They track her down, and they basically tell her that if she runs, they're just going to kill her. And in episode 3, she runs away. I think it was 3. And the hat one, Rado, who is just terrifying, basically follows her. She runs constantly. She fights him constantly. But constantly. And I love how people just completely fucking ignore that. She's so annoying. No, she's a terrified teenager who's being stalked by vampires, who's constantly having to fight off vampires who want to suck her blood, who want to do horrible things to her. And meanwhile, she has to figure out why it is that she's been dumped out of this house. 'Cause spoiler alert, the reason is really fucked up. And it's a great horror show. It's a really great horror show, and I don't understand why I can understand why people don't like it, right? But I don't understand why people think that she's useless. I don't get that. I really don't get that. But I can understand why people don't like it, because I can understand why people don't like it. I understand. It's very hard to sit through. I liked Redo of Healer. That show was great. And I have a very hardcore mentality of what I like, and I'm very, I like horror, basically. Let's see what else. Slayers is fun. Slayers is basically the story of Lena, who is extremely annoying, and I wish so God this was the main character, because he's just much more interesting. He's so much more interesting, and I like the idea of watching him try and find a cure for his curse so much more, but obviously that means I like Slayer, don't get me wrong, it's not bad. I just really wish she were the main character instead of Lena, because Lena is extremely obnoxious, but it's still a fun show. It's very goofy, it's very cute. And I like the fact that everybody is just tired of Lena's bullshit, and they all just want her to go away, and it's really funny. The Gakure Mikimo 3 is what I call it. It's, Asura Crying, which is the story of, a young man named Tomohiro who doesn't really do anything, if we're being honest, and he finds this box with this giant mech suit in it, and he finds this box with this giant mech suit in it, and he has to fight people for this mech, although he hasn't really fought people through the mech. There's also a plane crash where there was also a plane crash where everybody died, but for some reason he lived, and his friend, he can see her as a ghost. And there's also, like, there's demon hunts or some shit, and, like, a lowly, none of it makes any sense, and none of it connects to each other, basically. There's Dentalia no Shoka, which I'm not even sure I'm going to watch the second season, because, oh my god, Shoka is awful. Dalian is fucking awful. Like, a lot of people cite Louise from Familiar of Zero as the most unlikable protagonist, or one of the most unlikable protagonists. But y'all have never seen Dentalia no Shoka. Dalian is basically the same character as Louise. She's loud, she's irritating, she's bullying, she's rude, she's demanding, she's bratty. It's so obnoxious. And there's really no plot. they go from mystery to mystery, and they're like trying to find and they like solve mysteries involving tomes, but the mysteries don't make any sense because they never explain it in it well. One of them is like she gets a tome, is like this woman gets a tome that creates a golem, and for some reason her family has this curse where all the women go crazy and want to murder people. What the fuck does that have to do with the tome? With the golem? What is she? Was she trying to protect somebody? I don't know. There's one where the main character, where Huey's friend, his girlfriend wants, and friend is mad because for some reason she thinks she's cheating, so she gets a tome that turns people who cheat into a tree, although it's never actually established that he's cheating, so how in the fuck is he turning into a tree if he's never cheated? Like, are they implying he's lying? Or none of them make any sense. The only one I really liked is the one about the flower, the book plant, where the thieves come in to steal the plant, and they try to take it, but they end up getting eaten by the plant, and it turns out the book is its leaves. That was really neat. That was neat. But other than that, this show is just mess. The only one I actually like is what's it called? Oh God. What's it called? Strike the Blood, because Strike the Blood is the one that makes the most sense out of anyone. It has a coherent plot. It has interesting characters. The main character, I think Akatsuki is actually his first name. I thought Akatsuki was his last name, but no, I think Akatsuki is actually his first name. He was turned into a vampire before the start of the series, and now he has to be watched by this girl in his school, and his friend is apparently also watching him because they want to make sure he doesn't go crazy, and he has to fight all these really cool villains. There's also a very blatantly gay-coded like vampire lord who is really funny because he has a crush on the main character, but he actually has a crush on the power inside the main character because the power belonged to the woman who gave him his powers, but because the main character is carrying those powers, now he has a crush on the main character. And it's actually really funny, yeah, to watch this character because he's blatantly gay-coded. It's really fun. The only thing I don't like is when he repeatedly like has to hold her down in order to bite her. I don't like that, but that's one thing out of like a dozen things that could be wrong with this series. But other than that, I actually really enjoy this series. I think it's fun, and I think it reminds me a lot of Index, except instead of magic, it's monsters. So there's that. I'm being vague, by the way, because I have the shorts, and I don't want to really go in depth into this series because I have the shorts. And I'm not going to talk about these shows every single time, by the way. Oh, God, is there anything else? No, I don't think there's anything else. Those three, plus, Diabolic Lovers, plus... Oh, the last one, I'm also watching, oh God, what was it called? Shadowverse Flame, the new arc. I wasn't really gonna, but then I started watching. I'm like, this is decent. So right now they're fighting the Seven Shadows. Can someone explain to me? I get the sense that it's because they're not in their regular domain, but and I'm not saying that I don't like the idea of Shion having to fight for herself, right? Because they've all gotten their battle, and now it's Shion's turn, and she actually manages to actually beat the person she's fighting, which is really neat. Which is really neat. But why doesn't she use Gentleman? I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I'm trying to figure out why doesn't she use him? Is it because she can't? Like, is she too far away from where he's connected to? Or like, is it because she wants to? I do like the idea of her having to learn that she's not alone and that she's not, because she thinks she's a loser. She thinks that because she thinks she's a loser and she thinks she has to push everybody away, kind of like Mikado. But she hides behind him and Gentleman because she's really shy and she's scared to interact with people. And her learning to interact with other people and fight for herself. Hi, M11 edits. Hi, how you doing? Hi. Weird because it still says one person, but that's okay. Yeah, no. No, thank you. No, thank you. Just so you know, if y'all make right-wing comments or make any, just so you know, hi Drippy, how you doing? I guess it's gonna be chat time now. Good. Oh, that is perfectly fine because we're done with the main part of the show. But as long as I have people to talk to, that is perfectly fine. Just so you guys know. If y'all make right-wing comments, like if you make bigoted, hateful, because I just removed someone. Yeah, no, not yet. But if you guys make hateful or bigoted or right-wing comments, I'm just going to remove them. I'm not even going to bother arguing with you. I'm not even going to bother saying, oh, that's horrible, that's wrong, don't do that. I'm just going to remove them because I don't want that kind of hatred on my channel. So, as long as we're on that understanding, then that is, as long as we have that understanding, that y'all can't make comments like that, because, sorry, I'm plugging my phone in. Yeah, so, as long as y'all understand that. But anyway, we were talking about Shadow vs. Flame. And that I don't know why it is that, I don't know why it is that Shion doesn't use Gentleman in her fight. I'm not sure. I think it might be because she is away from where he's connected to. Possibly? But, other than that, I don't know. I can't. Why would she? Maybe it's... And the thing is, there's no established in-universe reason. Like, she doesn't say, oh, I want to fight for myself, or, oh, you know, I rely on him too much. It's just, he's just not there, and it's weird. And it's kind of sad, because he's one of the reasons I was interested in this show. I saw this show about a giant talking rabbit, and I'm like, oh, this is really freaking interesting. Holy crap, it's a giant bipedal talking rabbit. Rabbit, voiced by, oh God. Rabbit, that is awesome. I like it, don't get me wrong. I like the different arcs. I like the idea of Shion having to realize that now she has friends and now she doesn't need to. Okay, that's fine. As long as you understand that I'm not gonna take. As long as you understand that I'm not gonna accept pro-Trump comments, or pretty much any right-wing comments. You are free to subscribe as long as you understand that. You know, just know that I'm not gonna take pro right-wing comments. But why would she not? Why would she not? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe they'll explain it at some point, or maybe we're just supposed to accept the fact that she's maybe we're just supposed to accept the fact that she's not using him right now. I want to know, but it's not the end of the world though. I want to know, but it's not the end of the world now. So, actually, this is probably one of my favorite shows so far, because I like the idea that everybody gets their own individual arc. Mikado has to learn not to push people away. Shion not just has to learn to not push people away, but also she has to learn that being alone does not always benefit her, and that she's not a loser. She's not stupid. I actually find her very cute, unlike Ran, who is extremely annoying. Oh my god, I find Ran extremely fucking irritating. I know everybody else has not pointed that. I find Ran extremely irritating. I like most of the characters in this show, but Ran is really annoying. I also love the opening. I also love the ending. Oh my god, the ending is fire. I'm really annoyed that we still haven't gotten any freaking subtitles. Like 13 episodes in, we still haven't gotten any subtitles. I need subtitles because I want to know what they're saying. Because I tried to look up Ochanorma, right? And I tried to look up what they were saying in that song. And I could not find it. I could not find what they were saying. I could not find a version with subtitles, which is really irritating. I wanted subtitles. I want to know what it translates to. But it's a great song. It's really catchy. I guess now that y'all are here, we can do. Sorry if I'm a little bit. We can go over the end of last season. I guess since y'all are here. And just empty it out so that we'll have it for next time. I wasn't originally gonna do this, but since I'm still going and I want to pad a little bit more time, I need to finish Undead Girl Murder Farce. It's going back in the bin because I want to finish it. Bungo Stray Dogs 4. Stupid, cheesy, hokey. Did not hate it, but like, I did not see the twist with Chuya coming. That was interesting. I don't know why. I don't know how they were able to fake that. I don't know why. How would Bram not know? How would he not know? Like, he's a super intelligent, smart person. You'd think he'd be able to tell that one of his subordinates is not actually under his control. You'd think he'd know. He's super intelligent, but he missed that. How did he miss that? I don't get that. But Fyodor's not dead. There's no way Fyodor is dead. We all know Fyodor is still alive. We all know Fyodor's still alive, right, guys? We know he's still alive. There's no fucking way Fyodor is dead. He spent all this time and energy setting up this plan. There is no way somebody that smart would let themselves die. Heretical Last Boss. Interesting idea. They did not do anything with it. It was basically just, hi Drippy. You already said hi, but basically, oh god, why are y'all just being? Never mind. I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna delete. I'm not gonna delete you. I just don't understand why y'all are coming to this channel specifically. But anyway, Heretical Last Boss. Interesting idea. Just the problem is they didn't actually do anything with it. It didn't go anywhere. And I have a feeling that's because, like a lot of shows, it was not finished. I hate adaptations that pick light novels that are not finished. Because of that, it means that we have to spend a lot of time I'm just trying to think of how to put this. It feels like filler without being filler. It feels like a prologue that lasted an entire season before the actual story starts. Am I actually the strongest? Cute. Didn't finish it mostly because I just got bored halfway through. They didn't really do anything with it, but it was very cute. And I still want to know why he dressed up as Zero from Code Geass. That's really funny. Reign of the Seven Spellblades. Really wish this show focused more on Oliver's plot. Cute idea. Very interesting. It's still going. So I'm going to put it back in the thing because it's still going. I think it's going to have 24 episodes. But I do really wish that it would focus more on Oliver's plot. Because Oliver's plot is much more interesting. Oliver's plot is just much more interesting than the plot we actually got. The plot we actually got is that stuff about, like, going to rescue Pete from a succubus and, like, trolls. And meanwhile, in Oliver's plot, we get that Oliver is trying to avenge his murdered mother. And that is interesting. Because people do not know he's trying to avenge his murdered mother. So he's in the background trying to avenge his murdered mom. And meanwhile, in the foreground, we get a bunch of shit that nobody cares about. I'm not saying it's bad. I like the art. I like the idea. But I just do wish that it would spend more time on Oliver's plot, because that's just more interesting. I have a feeling, and this is just me, that there's stuff that he does not know. I have this distinct feeling that he just thinks, oh, they just brutally murdered my mom and they're all horrible people. But in reality, there is way more to it than that. There is just way more to the story than that. I have this distinct feeling that there is more to the story he does not know. But that's just a feeling. It's still going though, so we'll see. Dark Gathering, I stopped watching it because I got very bored. And I got bored because it's the same idea of, they go to a haunted house, they fight a spirit, and then Yayoi puts it in her collection, and that's it. It's the same thing, I like the idea of her fighting or wanting to rescue her mom. I think that's interesting, but they don't actually, do anything of substance with it. So, hopefully in the future, maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe it'll get interesting. Maybe something will happen. But for now, it's just very repetitive, and it's just not something that I had any interest in anymore. Liar. A great concept ruined by generic pandering. It is not bad, but they shot themselves in the foot by not continuing to make Hiruto a liar. Because once they revealed that Hiruto a liar, and then having them just go through and defeat this generic bland villain that nobody cares about, I'm hoping that maybe it'll get better in the future. Maybe if they do another season, they'll have more interesting plot lines. But And finally, Cinderella Noir. I don't know what happened to that show. Something happened to it. It's not there anymore. I can't find it. So I stopped watching Bleach: The Thousand Year Blood War. I'm very freaking tired of Ichigo. Because in the original series of Bleach, right? At least the other, they had a fighting chance, and at least it didn't feel like they're handicapping them on purpose. At least it didn't. It feels in this series like they're handicapping them unintentionally to give Ichigo to make Ichigo the only character we need to pay attention to. And I hate that. I hate it. I hate that. You know, because in the previous series, all of the guards were strong, capable fighters, and now they're just all getting their asses. And I kind of understand that they're giving them more stronger enemies that they can't just beat. But at the same time, it also feels like they're, only he can go through this thing. Why? Why? Because he's the special super duper main character. The special super duper main character that we're all supposed to root for, and he's the only one who can save the day. Not any actual tangible reason, just only Ichigo. Hi. Not that he's actually. Oh, yeah, anime time. Yes, we are established to be in anime time. That he is the only character, and we're discussing Bleach: The Thousand Year Blood War and how I stopped watching it because in the original series, the fighter, the guards, and the captains actually could defend themselves. Yeah, they got beat, but they could defend themselves. They were capable of taking care of themselves. This show, I get the idea that they were trying to go with they're fighting enemies that they can't, that are just much stronger than them. I get that. But at the same time, there are points in the series where it's like, only Ichigo can go through this thing. Why? Why? Is there a tangible reason? Or is it just because Ichigo is the super duper special main character who we're all just supposed to root for, and he's the only one who can actually do anything now? That's honestly what it feels like with this show. Is that they're making everybody else cheerleaders so that Ichigo can be the hero. And I hate that. I hate that they did that in this show. And it's really irritating. Also, I just don't like the art style. I think it's ugly. And it's sad because at the end of the last season, that last art was so pretty. It was so pretty. So pretty. It also made Quincy, what's his face? It also made him hot, but that's another story. I lost interest. I think that's it. I think that's it for this week. I don't think there's anything else that we need to. I'm going to try to do these on Wednesdays, but I can't guarantee. So, that is it for this week, guys. Thank you for tuning in, all three of you that tuned. Thank all two of you, because that's more than I got. That's more than I got previously. Previously, I got nothing, but now I got two people. Now I got two people watching, so thank you. Or at one point, I got like multiple people watching. So thank you very much, and I will see you next week.